What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files. Hope you had a happy, safe 4th of July.
I spent the weekend with a lot of doctors, one of which is an eye doctor, and she is just assuming to have a full week after the 4th of July because so many people, shoot stuff into their eye, with fireworks and other explosives.
Protect those eyes. I hope you protect
Wear your protective eye gear.
Yeah.
Give your eye doctor a break.
I was going to sound like a chastising parent, but I was going to be like, don't use fireworks.
Why not?
Why not?
That makes me so anxious. I just feel like it's an explosive.
It is.
The two of us from the Midwest, we're like, why not?
Fire. It's cool.
I have a vivid
Reveals
memory.
Belts.
So I have a lot of family in South Dakota, and we would go to South Dakota for 4th of July because, let's be real, a lot of things float in South Dakota. You just run with it. I have a vivid memory of being with my uncle and my sister, and he drove us to an abandoned RV that we got into and shopped for fireworks in an RV that this man just ran this kind of illegal fireworks store out of an RV in South Dakota.
That's when you get the good ones.
Like a Sparkeezy.
I was like, oh my God.
You get some definitely illegal shit there.
Yeah.
Ugh.
For
Well,
sure.
we have literally a special episode for you today. As you guys know, we've done a lot of mediation calls, and the texting office hours took off so much. And honestly, it's kind of hard to get couples sometimes for scheduling. So we would always record these mediation calls a variety of times, and then we just had a bunch banked. So we're going to play them today for your enjoyment. They're good. They're juicy. They're emotional.
They might spark debate.
Do you think? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't think so.
I hope they will.
I just opened.
I mean, yeah, we love the discourse. So let us know what you think of this. Maybe we can definitely keep doing mediations. It's just hard to schedule inside other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But let us know what you guys think about this episode. We don't have to ever do it again. We could say fuck it until we get Shane and Natalie in for a mediation.
Yep. That'll be the day.
I don't know if that will happen, but I'm confident we'll get Natalie here.
Manifesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
I believe you. I feel like on the topic of holidays, something that is near and dear to my heart that I've been thinking of a lot is photos when you're in a relationship or when you're dating someone. When do you start to
Have you taken a picture with Bar Guy? Are you guys taking pictures?
No.
See, that feels weird to me because you're literally boyfriend and girlfriend.
Why?
It's we've said I
How
love
do
you. We have not taken photos.
Did we discuss that?
Wait, we were saying I love you?
Yeah.
Who said it first?
He did. No fucking way am I going first.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm scared. Because I'm scared.
Says the progressive woman.
Yeah. Progressive in ideals, not always in practice. I'm doing my best. I'm a work in progress.
I'm just kidding.
What is more progressive than being a work in progress?
There you go.
No, it's not something we throw around yet. It's not like a end of every phone call conversation thing. So it still feels meaningful when it's said.
Wait, are you suggesting because Natalie and I said, as you would say, throw it away, it's less meaningful?
Not at all.
What are you trying to say?
Yeah, I don't really think you and Natalie love each other, is I think what I'm trying to say here. And I think it's...
Our love is more...
Your love is a sham.
Yeah.
My love with Bar Guy. No, I meant in reference to my own relationships. With my ex, I feel like you get into a point in relationships, you say I love you every time you hang up the phone. You say, you're so comforable with it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus
But
right now,
he won't take pictures with you, and now we're worried if he's
it's
cheating.
not that he won't take.
You've never even you don't have any selfies or anything?
No. But
Well, I
never...
will say, again, before any time in the public light of Instagram, you only knew I had a girlfriend because there were pictures of me on Facebook. Because when I was single, I was never let's take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever remember ever having that thought ever in my life until I went on The Bachelor. Let's capture this moment. I know the world has changed, social media in general for everyone, but that was after I had been on a TV show. But prior to that moment, I didn't give a fuck.
But not even to post, just to have in your camera roll so you can look at it.
Again, I never was like, hey, babe, we should take a picture ever in my life. So I do think that might be something that might have to come from you.
Well, I have tons of photos of him, and I think he's taken photos of me, but we just don't have any together.
You're going to have to be like, let's take a photo together.
Just have your roommate take a photo of you. Or if you're out, just be
I
like,
feel
hey,
that's
can you
so much worse to be like,
why don't you just be like, hey,
right here and now,
grab
take a
grab
picture with me in
photo
the
of us.
hallway. No, I
if
know.
you're like out,
No, we totally could. We totally could.
have someone like wing woman it
I
and be
just
like,
get-
you guys are so cute. Let me grab a photo.
I would say I am still in recovery from internalized cool girl standards. Like,
Which are?
just that, like, anything that feels like asking for something, I get uncomfortable with, which is bullshit. Absolute
It is,
bullshit.
but I want a photo of us pretending we're in love. Pretending you're in love with me right now. Let's take a picture.
Pretend.
Well, for a photo. I mean, like, you get what I'm saying.
Well, I was going to ask, like, well, how do you feel like, when do you think the first photo that you took with your,
I remember the first photo I
Someone.
took with Natalie.
when was
That
it?
one Snapchat.
What?
Allie, what do you mean by that?
Natalie did questions on her Instagram one day, and it was like the first photo you and Nick have together, and it was some like selfie Snapchat thing in a group. And she was like, "This was before people knew we were together."
In a group.
I don't know. It was like something from 2019.
Oh, but there was one of just us. Well,
Oh.
there's one. There was one we took a selfie, and I was like weird about it. And then there was one we took like together in Georgia when I visited her. One was a selfie, and one was that was like a different. I guess I think of that differently. And then having someone else take a picture of us was also like a first I clocked.
Yeah, it's definitely a distinct difference between the selfie it versus the, can you please take a photo of
Yeah,
us?
can you take a photo of us?
I feel like usually it's like a photo op situation.
Yeah, usually
you're
it's like
"You're at
organic,
Niagara
a
Falls."
wedding. Yeah. So if you don't have like a wedding to go to or an event to capture a moment,
You want to hear the most, I was going to say the most effed up thing in the world. Not even close. But our cousins are both getting married on the same fucking weekends. Mine in New York, his in Arizona. And he'd asked me, he was like, do you want to go to this wedding with me? And I was like, so badly, yes. But
oh no.
is that so that would have been probably a photo opportunity.
When's that?
August.
We're gonna have to wait till August.
Well, I'm not even going to get at that. No, it's the kind of thing I could totally be like, hey, I want to have a photo of us.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
very simple. And yet
You're saying
I'm
I
resistant.
love you.
I don't actually have an issue with it. It's just the kind of thing.
Like you
You've
can
never
ask
been like
for
selfie.
a photo.
Like, you've never been like, hey babe.
No, I'm really bad at posing for photos.
Don't pose. Just
Don't pose.
get a
Smile.
photo.
Well, it's easier when you have a partner in crime in the photo. But like,
Just be like, I think you look really good today, and I always look hot. Let's capture this moment.
It
And
doesn't
then-
even have to be that formal. Just be like, wait, let's get a pic.
Yeah.
Toss your phone to someone. Don't overthink it.
I suppose it's a moment, but it doesn't need to be. I mean, yes, to Allie's point, you guys are way behind. If you're throwing out L-bombs,
Yeah. I've never said that in my life, and I have photos of people.
it's not like and it's not. I truly could bring it up. I've never like been like, oh, like I really want to bring it up, but I'm not. I'm too scared to in this moment. It's more like the kind of thing where I'm like, fuck, I want a photo with him when I think about it.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's a lot of guys who it's just not on their radar.
I think that's probably.
And so him not asking is not him not wanting one. It's just,
And I don't think there's been
priority.
situations where it's like, why didn't he ask to take a photo with you? It's more like,
like,
I
you
just-
should have one.
I think what it is that he's not a big social media person. Like he's very present and he's very in the moment. And so I think it feels almost vain, even though it's not, to want to capture a memory. There's a part of me that feels like it's sort of like
You're unnecessarily self-conscious, I think.
absolutely. And he's not. So that's why it's
I
good
think
balance.
you should just take a photo with him.
I'm going to ambush him next time I see him.
So if anyone else listening can relate, just ask for a photo.
Just take a photo.
Take a photo.
When was the first in a photo that you have with someone you were romantically involved with? What was the context?
It would be my last boyfriend, which I was 20. Yeah, so I was like 5 years ago.
Sorry, I just had a revelation, which is that I think my ex made me feel like I was a burden every time I wanted to take a picture together.
You know what? Let's just always blame our exes.
No,
That's it.
I'm having a real time revelation. I'm like, why do I think it's such a big ass? Because my ex would always be
Yeah.
like,
So
like
it's their
roll
fault.
his eyes. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm perfect and a victim.
Was he a narcissist?
Not at all. He's a
kidding.
lovely dude.
No, I'm thinking about it. Natalie didn't ask. She was just like, I want a picture with you. And I was like, okay.
That goes along with everything you've
Yeah.
told us about Natalie. She doesn't ask, she tells.
Yeah.
Great.
We got a great episode.
We do. Mediation, everybody.
Mediation.
Bachelor premiering next week. Bachelorette. Oh, next week, Natalie and I will be podcasting from Europe. Little Nick and Natalie on the road. I want to miss that for going deeper. Allie and Amanda will be in studio. And Allie and I will be abroad. All right, let's get to our episode. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. What are your guys' names?
Sarah.
Scott.
How old are you guys?
I am 26, turning 27 in about a week.
I'm 29, turning 30 in December.
All right. Well, happy birthday to both of you coming up. Are you guys married, dating, living together?
We are dating and we're living together.
All right. Who wants to start?
Well, we moved in January, so we've been living together for a couple months.
Okay.
And I guess we have just been having some issues kind of adjusting to each other's lifestyles because we are a bit different. He kind of likes to go out more and I kind of like to stay in.
Okay.
So I guess that's like a big...
You guys, how long you guys been dating for?
About 5 years.
Okay. And moving in together was based off of what mostly? The desire to move in?
Well,
I'll take that one. So for the first year I met her, she didn't give me time of day. So I tried for a year hard and she finally did. And I made sure to lock her down. And so for 3 years I lived on my own. She was at home. And the fourth year I really bugged her about it. I was like, I need you to be with me. I want you to be with me. I want a different life. I want us to live together. And so by the fifth year, she finally took the step. She did all the move out, and now we're in a beautiful place together. She decorated it all, and I love it. But I made that step for us, but she made the ultimate decision to do that step.
It was your idea. You wanted it. She agreed to it. You like going out. You don't like going out as much. And I'm assuming that's causing disagreements.
Well, specifically, I would say it's more during the week because I like to have more of like a routine during the week. I don't really like to drink during the week because like I don't want to go to work hungover and stuff like that. And because like on the weekends, like I'm fine to do whatever, but it's during the week that's kind of the problem.
And what was this, like you guys been together for 5 years?
Yeah.
And I know you didn't live together, but I'm assuming you guys spent some nights together.
Yeah, a lot. Because before we were together like
3 to 4
Yeah.
out of the 7.
Yeah. So you were already spending a ton of time together. And so what was that expectation when you weren't living together but dating?
Well, that's also too the thing that it seems to be that he's going out actually more frequently than before.
It seems or he is, I guess.
He is.
Okay.
And I think too.
Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
I mean, you weren't around, so you didn't know if I went out or not.
Well, I wasn't. Well, I was not around for 2 nights. So yeah, you were going out for those 2 nights. Well, you were going out for those 2 nights, but it seems like it's more than 2 nights.
Is it possible? Do we agree that it's not so much that it's like drastically different? It might be slightly different. It seems like it might be more different, but a possible explanation could be that instead of spending 4 nights together a week, you're spending every night together a week. And probably, I'm guessing that you spent most of your weekends together and some of your weekdays together.
Yeah.
So the weekdays that you specify that you have more of an issue with, those were the nights where you were at least spending some time apart. And it possibly could be explained by you noticing it more rather than it happening.
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably the problem.
Okay.
It's kind of also too like what's going on when he does go out.
Okay.
That's like kind of bothering me.
What such as?
So, well, I mean, he's been drinking a lot, I would say.
What's a lot?
And,
Do you agree with that, Scott?
I do agree with that. Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like the people like that he's spending time with are not the best influences.
Who and
if
your
he's
friends?
coming home really late. What?
Your friends are the randoms. Like, who are these people?
Well, they're coworkers, so they're not friends. He says, but
you gotta shake it up with the coworkers sometimes. Is it like networking or like? And so, from your point of view, Scott, are you networking, or are you just you found some drinking buddies you work with?
I could kind of lie and say it's networking.
No, we want the truth. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the truth would be, at the end of the day, my not networking, right, has led me to opportunities that have made our life a lot better.
Okay.
At the end of the day, it wasn't networking. It's more of being personable and somebody that I can connect to, and I get connections from that. So to an extent, it's networking. But
so maybe your initial intent is not like, hey, babe, I have to do, like, you are an extroverted person, it sounds like, who enjoys having a few drinks with some people who also having a few drinks and let loose. And Sarah, you might be more slightly, I don't know, maybe you're not even introverted. I don't know. But Scott definitely sounds extroverted. He enjoys it. And a benefit of you being extroverted with people you drink with or go to the bars with has led to some opportunities. But it's not the reason you're doing it. Where some people are like, I fucking hate this, but I have to do it because it's like I fucking hate golf. But like, hey, the deals happen on the golf courses or whatever.
No, it's not that. No, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Helix Sleep, you heard me talk about them. I don't know. Like, listen, there's definitely a few people listening to this show right now that are in the market for a mattress. And if you don't get a Helix mattress, I don't know. You don't trust me, for one. I mean, when I say that, I've really thought my whole life that I could sleep on any mattress until I got a Helix Sleep mattress. And every time I leave my house, I miss my mattress so much. I know I'm like a major celebrity with unlimited resources, and you think like only someone like Nick could sleep on a mattress this amazing, but that's not true. No, I just took a short quiz. I went to helixsleep.com. I told them I was a side sleeper, and bam, they sent me a mattress that was fun to open up because it inflated. Or like, I don't know how you call it, but like you take all this, it expanded. You can sleep on the same mattresses that I sleep on. It's like looking at the moon together. I don't know what more to say. It's truly an amazing mattress. Just go to helixsleep.com/VIALL, take their 2-minute quiz, and they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They have a 10-year warranty. You can sleep on it for 100 nights, like risk-free.
And they'll pick it up if you don't.
And they'll pick it up.
And if you don't like it, which you will like it, they'll literally take care of everything. And that's the kind of confidence from a company that has a good product.
Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/VIALL. That's helixsleep.com/VIALL for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Missouri. That's right. They do fine jewelry differently. Natalie loves it. I just keep getting her Missouri jewelry, and she just keeps asking for more. What a
gifts.
diva.
That's a gifts love language right there.
Missouri has the Natalie Joy gold stamp of approval.
I completely agree. When we got the email, first of all, I was thrilled. I was like, yes, this is so exciting. And second of all, I spent so long on their website because there's no skips on this website. They're all like really good. It's a good combination of kind of like basic neutrals that you can style a bunch of different ways, but they're still like flair and they look good.
The hard part about jewelry too is because obviously it can be pricey. And so if you don't feel like you're breaking the bank, you're worried about not getting high quality. But like with Missouri, like that's not the case. They feature responsibly sourced diamonds and recycled 14-karat solid gold pieces you can sweat, shower, and sleep in.
I've been in yoga class and realized in downward dog, my necklace hits me in the chin. And I'm like, oh no, is it going to get ruined?
Yeah, their 14-karat gold doesn't oxidize. So you'll never experience that kind of those green fingers that so many people do with jewelry. They do fine jewelry differently by celebrating every day, not just the big moments. So like it's a great piece of jewelry to get for yourself because you got a promotion, maybe for a friend, maybe you just want to brighten their day. Make your day and go to Mejuri.com. That's MEJURI.com. I'm curious, Sarah, if you knew that he hated it, but it was also like that he had a job, that it was required, do you think you would have more understanding about it?
I think that I would, because if it was more of like a networking situation, I feel like he wouldn't be drinking to that degree, because that's where it's like, I agree with what he's saying, but at the same time, it's not a professional environment because of the amount that is getting consumed.
Are you coming home wasted most of the time, Scott?
More than not, I would say.
All right. And Sarah, are you a drinker on the weekends?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And even sometimes I do during the week to kind of like it just can't be like so frequent for me. Like if there's a special occasion, like
you're not as big of a drinker as Scott. I'm not a big drinker, so like I mean,
yeah.
Well, she tells me, she's like, I'll take 2 shots and I'm good for the whole night.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of a lightweight too on top of it.
All right, we're gonna have to compromise on some level here. So
That's
like
what we talk about,
yeah. So on your side, Scott, you wanted this. Like you wanted to advance the relationship. You in your kind of like speech were like, hey, I met her, I fought for her, and then I wanted to advance it. I wanted her to move in. I don't know if you guys have talked about like marriage or engagements and things like that, but it sounds like you guys are a couple that's like planning for the future, right?
Yeah.
And all relationships, as you guys become more one, like I think maintaining your level of independence is always important in any relationship, in any stage. I don't care if you're married with kids, like you need to have something for yourself. But that being said, the more one you become, the more you have to give up on other aspects of your, your independence, your personal lives, things you did with your buddies when you were younger. We can all agree that it might even be the same. Like it's not even worse in terms of like how much you're going out. But even the same for Sarah might be too much. And it wasn't too much back in the day because, well, it was out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
But even though it's out of sight, out of mind, it's still the life, Scott, that you wanted to have, right? So
that's like my biggest thing, I think, too,
it's
because you wanted me here, and now I feel like I'm being like left alone a lot.
Yeah. So there's a compromise. So like you saying, "Well, I've always done this," would not be fair. I'm not saying you are saying that, but like the idea that like, hey, because I don't know how much you guys have fought over if it's happening more or less. I guess you guys have probably had but to me, from a third party, that sounds like a fight that's a complete waste of both your time. Because that's not really the issue. It's just something to fight over. It's like sometimes when we fight, when we're like losing one aspect of a fight, we'll just like, well, what about this? You're actually going out more. And I don't know if this is what you guys are fighting about, like, but every couple does this on some level. And I'm just saying, it just sounds like a giant waste of your time because it's not really the point, right? Yeah. And I understand that from Sarah's standpoint, that it might not be more, but I'm seeing it more, and you wanted this. So on some level, it would make sense to me that a compromise needs to be made. And from your side, Scott, it seems like you could be open to the possibility of, decreasing the amount of times that you are out hanging out with coworkers, friends, whoever you're hanging out with, and drinking and spending more quality time with the person you wanted to live with.
That's fair to say.
That's how I feel, because I don't know. I just feel like
fair, but I think
I just feel like he wanted me here, but he just wants to like come back to me. Like he's not willing to put in the extra time now that I'm here all the time.
Well, I guess what the question for you though, Sarah, is how, like, are you also willing to compromise? Because it doesn't do much if you're just like, I want you to stop doing this.
I understand that, but the thing about it is that I get worried about like if he's gonna go drive or whatever. Because it's like the other night do you have a history of
have you ever done that, Scott?
Yeah, yes, I do.
Okay, so it's a valid concern.
It is a valid. Right. I validate that.
And then the other night he was out. He kept pushing the time back, and then his phone died. So of course my mind's going to, he got pulled over, he got in an accident, whatever. So it's like I understand that I need to compromise, but it's like there's like a safety concern too on my end,
which we talked about.
Yeah,
and I said if I can come to you and say that I don't feel comfortable driving and not be judged, then we can work with that. And I thought we came to an agreement.
There is that. What about Ubers? Are Ubers a possibility?
It's a little pricey, but okay. That's why I came to her and I said that.
Well, I mean, Scott, that's the cost of doing business, though.
That's true, too.
Exactly. If you're going to go out and do that, like, that's what I think.
That's my fault. You're right.
It's still an option. What's not an option is you drinking under the influence. So
not at all. You're right.
So Uber, and like, hey, and maybe that helps you from not like, it also costs a lot of money? Booze.
Right, exactly. That's my other thing. It's like because he tells me that to go out during the week with other people or whatever. And I'm like, personally, I don't have the funds to be hanging out with people every day of the week. Like, I need to be home, like, saving money.
Sure. But that's where like you probably are saying things, I'm guessing, to like trigger Scott, where you could probably not say things. Again, we're just trying to compromise here.
Yeah.
But like Scott, you could like as a third party, I don't buy the cost of an Uber being a valid excuse because like that's like maybe 2 drinks. And maybe 2 less drinks is probably better for everybody, maybe.
Of course, yeah.
So I just think something that you need to hold yourself accountable for because like, listen, you could save yourself a lot of headache by just doing the responsible thing that she's just like, she's not trying to nag you. She's just worried about you. And kind of times it might sound like nagging because she has to repeat herself.
I feel like sometimes it could be an excuse though.
What do you mean?
Like, so some days I won't drink at all. I'll come home and she'll be like, you drank, you stayed out late. So at the end of the night, like some nights she's validated, but other nights she's accusing.
So some days it's not happening.
No, not at all.
And so what do you say to that, Sarah?
Well, like I told him, it's like, I feel like there's a little trust been lost because in the past he's lied about it. So that's what I feel like. That's why it's like, I understand like what he's saying, but it's like, there's been some trust lost in the process because he's lied about it before.
Okay. Which you're nodding yes. What do you guys think? Because like, listen, you guys are in this relationship. You guys live together. You've lied before. Trust has been broken. But at the same time, this is something where I understand what it's like. Listen, I'm a big believer. I'm more team Sarah here in the sense that like, just because you got caught in a lie and you're afraid that your partner might be mad at you is not a reason to lie. Right? Like just
I think
you kind of have to own that.
Like, I could take some responsibility for that. That like maybe I have been a little bit harsh, and that's why he feels like he needs to lie. But
I think what you guys need to try to do is to agree on some boundaries on what this is. And every negotiation, the only successful ones is when you both feel a little dissatisfied about how much you have to give up. So if you guys are both willing to compromise, you both kind of need to feel annoyed by what you've agreed to, right? Listen, as someone who's not a big drinker, I can empathize with Sarah how it can be a challenge sometimes when you're dealing with someone who's drunk and you're sober. It's annoying.
Not fun.
Yeah, that's what she says. That word, annoying.
Yeah. It can be frustrating. And so you just got to help your partner out. And again, a lot of it is trust. It's trust that it's probably more trust that she can that you are capable of having 2 less drinks to afford an Uber, or not have enough drinks where you have 2 drinks, you wait around and you are capable of driving home. It's just showing that kind of ability to like make those choices rather than being like, I'm going out. I'll be honest. I don't know what's going to happen.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And I have a lot of buddies. A lot of my best friends, I relate to Scott, where it's just like, hey man, like YOLO. I'm going to be present. I'm going to live in that moment. And that moment might be a round of beers and a shot. And I don't say no to a round of beers and a shot. So you guys are going to have to decide what's reasonable for you guys. Here's what never works. Drastic, like, I'm never going to, like, if you're someone who's regularly going out with his buddies, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm not going to drink on the weekdays. I already would have been like, that's not realistic. I mean, Sarah, if I were you, I wouldn't have let him make that promise to you. That was an opportunity for you to say, I'm not asking that. And I don't want you to feel like you can't do that. But like, what I would really appreciate it is, I would really appreciate you like making a concerted effort to drastically reduce that. But if something comes up and you want to go out, that's fine. But like, just talk with me about it. And more than anything, just promise me you're being smart and responsible and safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said to him the other day.
And like, also like, can you go out and drink, Scott, without getting wasted?
I have done it.
Yeah.
And I think
it seems like more often than not, though. It's like to an extreme level.
Yeah, because like, you're at an age, Scott, where it's it's one thing when you're in college and drink with your buddies, but like you're at an age that your partner is probably going to be wondering, is this going to be something that I have to deal with forever? And you guys are
That's
sick.
what she says, yeah.
And once you guys start having kids, like
Right. That's the other thing. Like,
it's
I
going
don't
to
wanna
be a
single
challenge.
parent.
So reducing it and being more responsible with your drinking would go a long way. And you probably, my guess is, feel a lot more freedom in your choices, because I get where you're coming from, Scott. Now it just feels like you can't be yourself. You don't have a partner. You have a parent. You have a watchdog. You have like someone who's just constantly you have to answer to. But it doesn't sound like she really wants to be that person. I'm guessing the drinking is a little bit of an outlet for you to unwind.
It's my personal outlet, I would say.
Yeah.
I had an idea for a potential compromise, because it sounds like Scott enjoys going out. Like he said, it's his personal outlet. And what drives Sarah crazy is less so him going out, but the waiting up at night, the safety element, the driving element. So what if the issue is like, what if you could just agree that Scott does not drive? He has to take an Uber both ways if he wants to go out. So then Sarah knows that he's not driving home. I mean, I know it's expensive, but so is a DUI or putting someone in the hospital. So, I mean, in that way, he can still go out. Sarah can go to bed knowing that he's going to be coming home safely, not behind the wheel of a car. And then as they continue therapy, they can dive more into it. But in the meantime, that could be an easy fix, maybe.
I think that's great. And also, I don't think money is an excuse, because
that's true.
You can spend less on other things. Like that's your thing. If that's your outlet and you think you're drinking responsibly enough and like whatever, but like you can guarantee your safety, $60 on, Uber both ways. What?
Yeah.
Like then either you drink a little bit less at the bar, or other things you're spending on bet now, you just budget for it. It's just call it your Uber fund, whatever it is.
True.
And you just accept that cost, because to Allie's point, like it can be, that's peace of mind. Like don't think of it as the cost of an Uber. Think about it as things, something you won't have to fight about with Sarah, your safety, not getting a DUI, not putting other people at risk, not getting, all those things. That's a great deal.
That's priceless.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if this was helpful.
Yeah, it was helpful.
It was nice to hear it all out, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Well, take it easy on each other, man. I mean, like that's the big thing. There's obviously you guys both want this to work out. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So, don't be afraid to compliment each other. Sarah, maybe tell him things he's like you're really proud of once in a while.
Yeah.
Maybe make that a habit with both of you.
Yeah, I try to.
She does.
Yeah, I'm sure. And maybe you guys just do that a lot. Get in the habit of doing that. And we always like to end these things with saying something you guys really appreciate about one another.
I was prepared for this, so sorry about that, bud. I would say, I think my favorite thing about you is your optimism and how you see like the magic in the world still.
That's beautiful.
All right, you're up, Scott.
The thing I most appreciate about you is the endless love you give me, the endless try. I don't know the right word for that. Try. But I know and I see it and I feel it. You give me everything of you. And I constantly want to do better. And that's what I'm striving for, because I want to do that for you.
That's so sweet. Amanda's about to cry.
Oh my God, don't cry. He's crying.
I love you guys.
I'm crying.
No, there's a lot of love there. And this is man, shoot, you guys remind me a lot of my friends growing up. And all right, so Ubers and compliments. That's
the big takeaways.
That's our remedy. I know it's not an easy conversation. Scott, you're obviously very open and vulnerable. I appreciate it. Not easy to do. So big props to you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
All right. Take care, guys.
All right. You
All
too.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye-bye. How's it going?
Good. My name's Lindsay. I'm 25, and this is my girlfriend, Maddie, and she's 24.
All right. Lindsay and Maddie, 25, 24. Who wants to start?
We just moved in together.
Just moved in. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Very
yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Congrats.
Thank you. We're
Yeah.
excited.
All right. So what is the issue that we can try to help with?
Yeah, of course. So not an issue maybe, but a discussion we've had
Okay.
since we got together was always that Lindsay wants a dog. She's always I knew that being in a committed relationship, like we would be getting a dog at some point. She grew up with like the most perfect golden who was so well trained. I grew up with no pets, but I'm definitely open to it. I'd call myself like neutral on dogs generally, and
Sure.
I love the ones that I do love. But since moving in together and kind of taking that extra commitment step, she is bringing up the conversation more as a present conversation than something in the future, wanting to get a pet as soon as possible. And I'm more in the, we're still an apartment. We travel most weekends, kind of, why don't we wait until we're settled a little bit more? But I think that the push is that she wants more of a, okay, when is that waiting? Whereas I'm more of, let's just push it off.
Sure. What does settling look like to you?
I think I want more time getting used to living together.
That's fair. Yeah.
We're really excited. This past 24 hours has been great, but, want to get used to living together. And then ideally, I think I would like a little more space. But as she's pointed out, we could be in an apartment for the next 5-6 years. Does that mean we wait until we get a house in our 30s, or what does that look like? So I guess I don't really have that answer besides it seems too soon now.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Lindsay?
I just don't want to wait until so we're in an apartment now. We're thinking about, and our city is pretty I think it's pretty easy to have a dog here, but we're in an apartment and then we're thinking about moving to New York within the next year or two. And so that obviously comes with challenges as well with the dog, but then we'd be in New York for 3 to 5 years. And so that means we wouldn't have a dog until 8 years or whatever. And I just don't want to wait that long. And so it's more of a conversation of when does it make sense? And I'm thinking I just don't want to wait till logistics make it easy. Let's just do it and then deal with whatever happens after that.
Interestingly enough, I relate to this story. I'm Maddie in this situation. So I'm allergic to most dogs. And so I grew up, as a kid, I always really wanted to get a dog, and then I just got itchy. And so most of my life, I like dogs, but most dogs make me itchy. I'm not normally oh, dog, rubbing my face in it, right? So I've grown to have an understanding with dogs. We're cool, but we're not besties. But I've always, in the back of my mind, I always thought to myself, I wanted to get a dog. I want to get a dog. And then finally, after I bought my house, I found a dog that was hyperallergenic. And now it's the love of my life. And I have a tattoo of him, and we're best friends. And I decided to buy the dog, even though Nally and I got the dog together. I bought it and I kind of made it my own, just because it's it's one of those things too. We live together. We're not married. Not that I'm planning on us breaking up, but it's just more a weird thing to kind of split everything. That's a whole other issue, but this is not necessarily good for you, Maddie. But I thought to myself, thank God I have a house, because I couldn't imagine having a dog in an apartment. Now, that being said, I would have made it work, and Jeff is the best well-behaved dog. Do you have any idea what type of dog you would want, Lindsay?
I want a golden retriever. I had a golden retriever when I was growing up, and that's kind of the only
They're good dogs, yeah.
I don't know.
And you're not allergic
They're
or
so
anything, right?
No, I'm not allergic. I think because I never had a pet, the training and everything else kind of scares me and is daunting. And I think especially being in an apartment, we would need to. Lindsay has said her dad is the best dog trainer in the world, and he'll come live with us for a couple weeks and make it work.
Which I don't know how you feel about Lindsay's dad, but that's 2 weeks of
he's great.
Yeah,
I just
I love him.
but 2 weeks, it's okay.
Yeah, I just feel we could make it work. We would train it really well. We would I don't know. I just feel there's not a ton of barriers. But then I guess the biggest thing is moving to New York.
Well, I'm just spitballing here. I'm not necessarily. Here's a couple of things I'm thinking. One, I think getting a dog before you move to New York would actually be easier on both you and the dog because ideally he would be trained before he goes to New York. I think it'd be harder, maybe in New York, less space, more inconvenient to take him out. I don't know. You make it sound like your situation now is a little bit more convenient. New York's not known as the most convenient place in the world. It is. I love it, but it's just not overly convenient.
Yeah.
So there's that. I do also think, though, however, it makes sense to say we moved in together yesterday. Let's just let it breathe for a minute. So that's a valid feeling. At the same time, like getting a dog together could be something you guys like. It could be like the christening of your move-in if all things go well. Like it's a bit of a risk, but I mean, I'm incredibly biased here because like I was really nervous getting Jeff. And I was nervous about like how inconvenienced it would be to my life. I was just nervous about how much I would bond with him. Like, would it just be like, and like you, it's just like, I've seen a lot of people get dogs they don't have the time for or aren't responsible enough to care for dogs. It was just more like, I want a dog and like for the gram or whatever. And they spend a lot of time like leaving their dog at home or putting it up and they're traveling. And I always thought that was kind of selfish of, some people I know who got dogs. So there's a lot of variables at play. But it was the greatest thing I ever did. And it's something like, I will say, something that Nally and I enjoy doing together. Like, it is like it feels like, I'm not comparing it to having a kid, but there is an element of we see each other take care of Jeff. And there's a level of like, oh, that's cute, kind of seeing each other being nurturing and like bonding together. I definitely feel like getting Jeff has brought us closer together and just like kind of it feels like a family. It's nice. There's a little bit of a playing house element to it, but it's been all net positive for me as someone who is very reluctant on getting a dog.
Yeah, I think that's where some of my hesitation comes from too, is like you said, like you're the one who got Jeff and took ownership of that. Like, I think that would be the case with Lindsay. Like I would view it as something we were doing together, but like ultimately, we're not engaged, we're not getting married. Like it would be her dog. But we both don't work from home. We both go into work. I travel a lot for work. Like, I'm a little worried about like me not being able to, me being more like, the people that you mentioned that maybe aren't in a good place to help. And I think Lindsay is, but I don't want it to just be like, okay, like you do this thing and I'll.
Well, I mean, but it's a little different because you're the one who's not as eager to get the dog. So there's some upfront expectations here where Lindsay's like, this is something I want. I would love for you to do it with me. I'm willing and able to do this and help when and if you can. And it sounds like you're like when you're not traveling and when you're not at the office, you're like, it doesn't sound like you plan on being, because some people would be like, fine, get a dog. I want nothing to do with it. I'm not feeding it. I'm not taking it out. I'm not whatever.
No, that's definitely not.
Yeah. And you're not doing that. You're going to help when you can. Unless you think low key, like Lindsay's the type of person who like excitedly would. Some people are like that, and I'm Lindsay. I'm not suggesting you're.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there are some people who would be like more impulsive people, and then their partners are the responsible ones. And the impulsive person wants to get the dog because they just want a dog, giving no thought to like what it takes to like have a dog, and then the responsible person ends up being the one who's taking care of the dog. So. I think that's something you guys have to decide whether that's something, you're a little concerned with. But, if Lindsay is the one who really will take ownership of this.
I think that would be the case.
I feel like I am. Like, I'm the one, I like to do that kind of stuff. I would take care of it. I feel like I'm not thinking about maybe like everything that goes into it, but I'm more just like, it'll work out and I'll do it as it comes.
Yeah, your guys' biggest thing is the travel too and not being home. Like, like Nally and I are both really busy, but like I also spend a lot of time at home. We're lucky enough to have Cindy, who like lives down the street, who's like essentially our housekeeper, who like comes by with her dog and play like. So like we've created this nice little environment. So for Jeff, but like that does make it easier. I would definitely feel bad if we had like both like the 9 to 5s and for like Monday through Friday. And so like a lot of the work I do is from home, and like Natalie has like a flexible schedule. Like some days she's really busy. Like today, Jeff's on Tuesdays, Jeff's home by himself for like half the day. But actually right now Cindy's coming over with his playmate. So like we've just developed a situation that it works out. But
yeah, I think we, as our lives are right now and our careers are right now, have the ability to make kind of a situation like that where we kind of can fall into routine. But we're also in my opinion, like a period of pretty big flux. Just moving in together, Lindsay's graduating soon, potentially starting a new job. I'm still traveling a lot for work. So I think, like what Lindsay has said, like we can make the logistics work as it is now. What makes me nervous is how much things might be changing over the next couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, other than the dog, is everything, I mean, it's only been a day, but like fighting, like, are you guys, it's pretty solid situation?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't really, we kind of were saying last night after moving together, like, this is really fun now. Like, when does the other shoe drop? But hopefully it doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, eventually you guys have been together for how long?
About a year and a half. Well, we were really good friends before then. She actually got a lot of advice from your podcast on how to transition from friendship to dating, which was helpful.
Yay. I'm glad I could help. But like, you've had a big fight before, like ever?
Not a big fight.
Not really. Okay. More just like conversations about our relationship, but not like a fight.
Yeah.
Someday that'll happen.
Yeah, we know that isn't going to last forever.
Yeah.
You guys at some point going to have some weird fight that's going to make you feel distant, and it's going to be scary. That's just inevitable, right? And so it makes no point in sitting out there like wondering what's going to be the thing that causes this. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, well, if we get a dog, are we going to end up fighting over a dog? If when we moved to New York or whatever. In my experience, it's always the dumbest shit. It won't be any of those things, right? Because when it comes to New York, it sounds like you're both excited. Even if it's a dog, like it doesn't sound like it's really going to be like what's the worst that could happen getting the dog?
I think potential, I don't know, like it feels like a harsh word, like resentment, whether it's me being like, oh, actually this, dog that I didn't want very much is now taking up so much of my space, or whether it's, Lindsay resenting that maybe I'm not helping as much as I could be. And those aren't things like I feel like in our relationship, we haven't held things against each other in that way. We're pretty good about talking about it.
Yeah.
But I think it's part of what you're kind of getting at with the fights. Like, I'm nervous to have that first thing.
Sure, yeah.
I don't want to add factors to make it that.
And honestly, as much as like we say, it's just like, oh, Lindsay's like, oh no, I want the dog and I'll be the one who takes care of it and like do what you can when you want to. It's not really that simple. Just because, I don't know what you guys have planned for your future, family planning or not, but when you see someone like take care of something, like it just, and if they don't want to help, like you might have agreed that like she didn't want to help, but all of a sudden you're just like, but you should want to help, like, and then it might bother you. And like, I get where that can be nerve wracking. Again, I'm biased. It was just really net positive for me. And I ended up being the one who really enjoyed taking care of, like, I love taking care of Jeff. Like, I enjoy waking up and feeding him and like taking him out. Like, I enjoy brushing him. Like, I enjoy taking care of him. He's like my pal. And so like, you might be surprised. You might end up being the one who really connects with the dog as much as Lindsay. So that's possible too. Like, the worst case is you don't connect with the dog as much. And that's the real issue right now is you're so busy. There's a level of guilt around, the dog inconveniencing your life, but knowing that you have to take care of this dog. That's the big thing. But I
don't think I'm worried that we would get a dog and not take care of it. It's more how it would impact us otherwise.
Well, and like social life. And
that's what I'm saying. It's like, not that you wouldn't take care of it. It's just that you would take care of it and you would be annoyed that you have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Potentially, yeah.
But like, we've had Jeff for a year now, and we just started, like, we kettle trained him, which kettle train your dog if you get a dog. Like, a dog, they like kennels. They're cave dwellers, so, like, they're comfortable there. But we recently just started, like, leaving Jeff out, outside of his kennel when we're gone for extended periods of time. We just close all the doors. He hasn't fucked anything up. And so, like, now he's, like, pretty chill for most of the day. And, like, he's fine, like...
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it hasn't stopped us from, like, having fun when we go out. We're not big partiers and we don't go out a ton. So, like, it hasn't really been a big inconvenience. I was very worried about the inconvenience. Very worried.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm not worried at all.
It is rare on the weekends that we're away from the house for that long without coming home.
And I will I'll tell you what, I don't know if you ever like leaving a party early, there is no better excuse than we have to feed the dog.
That is a good
Like,
excuse.
Our friends are like often leaving because they have to go take care of their dogs. And she's like, well, I don't want to have to do that.
No,
I'm like,
the truth is your friends are leaving because they want to leave the party. I'm telling you, half the people who say they have to like feed their dog, they just want to leave and they blame it on their dog. I have learned that as a dog owner, that it's just like, oh, nope, got to feed the dog. And what we want to do is just go home.
Yeah.
That's fair. I could see us using that a lot.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We use it all the time. And that has become more the reality. I don't ever remember a time being like, I want to stay out, but I have to leave because of Jeff. Now, again, we don't go out a ton.
I just had two things to consider and one suggestion. One, I know you're talking about a golden retriever. I would just consider, like, I don't know how far you are from New York, if you're planning on flying or driving. Currently, because of COVID, no dogs can go underneath the plane. So if he's too big to go underneath the seat, something to consider. Two, just thinking through like finances of like vet and stuff like that. Like, I adopted a dog when I was a senior in college, which is like a weird time to do that. And it's definitely a financial commitment. And three, something that I did in college and something that I've encouraged my friends to do, and now my sister and her fiance are doing, is fostering a dog first. It's not only like a good thing to do and like get a dog out of a shelter and give it time at home, but it could be a really nice trial run for you guys to figure out if your schedule does work for it, what it's like taking it out all the time from your apartment, going through an elevator. Like, it's just a really nice thing to run through, and maybe even evaluating, what size is too big for your apartment. If you want a smaller dog, if you want an older dog or a younger dog. Like, I fostered a dog in college that was really big and was a puppy. And I was like, I can't potty train it in between classes. So then I ended up getting an older, smaller dog that's like my soulmate. So something to consider if there's like a local animal shelter or a rescue that does that in your area. I think it's a nice way to get that trial run. And then if it's not a fit for you, it's not a fit.
These are all good points. Good things to consider.
I do think the plane one's a real thing if you're moving to New York.
Yeah.
I think we would drive. We're in the Southeast.
Okay. You'd make it work.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hopefully this was helpful. I think
I think it was.
I think you should get the dog.
Like, I still want
to give it 6 months.
If I was picking right now, I'd say 3 to 6 months to just get living together routines down. And then I think this conversation has made me more open. So I guess it's a win for Lindsay.
Yeah. I mean, again, I was really reluctant.
This is the first time we've talked about it since like the first time I brought it up. We saved it all for the podcast. So
she said we weren't allowed to talk about it. So.
I really appreciate you guys calling in. No, we've been looking forward to this one. So we really appreciate it. Congrats on moving in.
Thank you.
Keep your independence is my only advice when it comes to that.
I think we're pretty good at that. We're going to check.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for calling in. Good luck, ladies. Congrats.
Thank you.
If you ever get a dog, let us know.
We will.
Give us an update. And all the best to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks.
How's it going?
Great. My name's Beth, and I'm 25.
And I'm Sarah, and I'm 26.
All right. Who wants to start and explain what's going on and what the goal is?
We've been friends for quite a few years. I can't remember exactly how long.
Like 4 years now. Well, so we're friends for like almost 3 years. We met at college. We were lab partners.
Okay.
And then just kind of started becoming friends through there, through boys, dating, relationship advice, all that. Started like doing schoolwork together and just
Okay,
hanging
so you've
out.
been friends for a handful of years.
For, yeah, about 2 years. And then
And we had a falling out New Year's Eve 2020 in
Okay,
New
so a
York.
while ago.
yeah.
And we just started rekindling, I guess you could say, today.
Today.
Well, okay, I feel like
Is this the
we're
first time
at-
you guys seen each other in person since?
Yes.
Yes, since then, probably it was like a month after the New York trip. We like tried to meet up at a coffee shop and talk to each other, and I feel like we both lied to each other's faces, shook hands, and like walked away.
Yeah, I just kind of.
And you got together to have this call? Is that
Yeah,
is that what
just
brought-
to be, yeah. She Snapchatted me yesterday and said like, hey, I know it's been a while, but I wanted to reach out to you. We have the same work profession, and she was like, actually, we just want to talk to you about work stuff. And I responded with a big old fat message saying, hey, I know you don't want to talk about work. I think we definitely need to talk about what happened 2 years ago. And I actually think we should do it on this show. And you reaching out to me, I kind of wanted you to reach out to me because, I've been thinking about it. So it's kind of a sign.
Okay, great. I'm honored. Thanks for trusting me with this. All right, so who wants to give a little backstory in terms of the falling out?
So I feel like we had, I guess, a couple issues like with boys before the trip. It was like October, September. I had broken up with a boyfriend and we were going out, and I went out with a new guy, and she, I guess, felt the need to like call my ex and tell him I was going out with this new guy. And he called my mom. My ex called my mom and told her that I was staying at some random guy from the club's house tonight. And my mom texted me and said, hey, sweetie, I know where you are and I know you're safe, but I guess your best friend told your ex that you were out with some boy. And I told both of them to stay out of your business.
Gotcha.
And
do you agree with that assessment? I'm sensing that you have a different version of that story.
Yes. Okay. So the clubs around here close like around 3 a.m. And I think it was like 4-ish a.m. I get a call from her ex. It's in the middle of the night. I'm dead asleep. I didn't go out, or if I did, I got home earlier. I don't remember. It's been forever. I was just dead asleep, and she knows I sleep like a zombie. Okay. So I just answered the phone. Didn't even look at who is it. They're calling me in the middle of the night. It must be important. Apparently, she said that she was going to be at my house or something, and he's like, "Can I speak to her?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure," but she's in the other room sleeping because I didn't know what to say. And then he kept like badgering that. Look, I know she's not there. Just let me talk to her. I've been calling her phone, and you sound like you just woke. Like, I know she's not there, or something.
So I get that they were like, she was trying to cover my back. I felt like she had a long conversation with my ex about I don't know what, because we did end up
later that night. He called back because he's going to show up to her mom's house.
Okay.
Yeah,
where she was currently staying at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you sound drunk. You need to let it go. Just trying to de-escalate the situation.
I just felt like she was intentionally trying to like seed my ex with information to set fires in my life.
Why do you feel that way?
Because I just feel like she, and she's kind of admitted it now, which I obviously, but that she kind of would get a little bit like jealous of my relationships and my time, that I would obviously spend too much time with like boyfriends versus her.
So do you agree with that? Like you felt?
I did feel a little jealous at times. Like she was studying for some pretty big tests, was in a very intense program at school. And, then she had the new relationship and all of that together. Like I got zero time except for like, here and there. And it was kind of like to her convenience. So I was jealous about it, especially when it came to like the new relationships, because I got cast aside for basically a stranger.
And how old were you? How old were you two around? This was like 2 or 3 years ago. You were
23, 24.
Yeah, I just turned 22, 23.
So you missed each other. You missed her friendship, and you went about it in a way that was not the most productive. You let your frustrations of missing her kind of cloud your judgment a little bit in terms of your loyalty to your friend. You acknowledged that you felt some insecurities about the relationship, right? And now it comes down to you.
Well, yeah, I didn't really have those insecurities yet because that was the first night.
This happens again. So I'm dating a new guy now, and a little bit later, a couple months later, I'm at the beach with her another girlfriend, and the same ex-boyfriend calls me and wants to come talk and have a serious talk. Like he's been wanting to get back together. And I'm like ready to smash it for good. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. He comes and picks me up. They try saying no. And I'm like, guys, I want to get this over with. Like, this dude will not leave me alone unless I just give him one final conversation. We leave, and it's like a 4-hour conversation on the beach. We're walking and talking, and my phone like dies through the end of it. Basically,
I didn't trust him not to do
she
something.
told my current boyfriend then that I was physically talking to my ex and at the beach somewhere trying to hash it out. But she kind of told him more that we were hanging out, and my current boyfriend couldn't get a hold of me because my phone was dead. And so then he drove like 2 hours, because he's from like an hour and a half out of town, drove into town looking for me.
You were shaking your head, Sarah. What part of that do you not you're not totally on board with?
Like 80% of it.
Okay, so what is what?
And that's just like an honest. Okay,
yeah,
so
no, it's fine. Listen, we both agree that you guys have seen these situations completely differently, which is why it caused the falling out. So we don't need to like. That's understood. Now I'd like to hear your version.
Okay, so yeah, it was she and I were at the beach with another friend of ours, and she decided to go talk to him, and he's not been physically abusive, but he has been like verbally abusive. Like, dude, all right, knock it down a notch. And so like I feel like after this time, especially with calling me in the middle of the night, calling her mom, threatening to go to her house to see if she's there, we just didn't trust him, me and the other friend, and we were trying to encourage her not to go. Like, dude, just let him go. Just
Okay.
Go whatever. After like a 4 or 5 hour mark hit, like I'm getting calls from the current boyfriend she was seeing, and her mother as well, because I guess he was calling her mother to say like, where is she?
Yeah.
So, and I have security cameras and stuff. I was out at dinner with my family. I have security cameras at my place, and so we looked on those, and she still had her car there. So we were just really confused, like, okay, so where is she? So it was like out of a concern, and after like a bazillion phone calls, I was like, look, she's trying to squash this, and I did not make it sound like you guys were hanging out. I just said he showed up and like kind of blindsided you and demanded to talk, and that
and I'm assuming
they were getting back together or anything.
Beth, I'm assuming your interpretation, like the story you told me, was at least partly from that boyfriend's point of view.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you got a lot of information of like what Sarah said to him. Yeah. So
yeah,
mad boyfriend shows up and he's just like, she told me this and that and this and that, and you immediately probably got mad at her for the things that he accused her of saying to him.
Yeah.
And that's where I got upset.
Yeah. And he's very Italian, has very hot blood. So he showed up at 10. So he was ready to fight when he showed up. But he was already mad. So I think that kind of also misled me to think, I guess, about it.
But you can recognize that, like, now that we're hearing her point of view.
Yeah, now that we're hearing it, and now that those people aren't.
Well, we never talked about this. We just both were like so caught up. I think I was caught up in the breakup and the new relationship, and she had a lot of other stuff going on too. So we kind of just fought for like a week about it and like didn't really hang out, and then just like started going out again and just drinking and like forgetting everything, and then made a trip to New York happen like the next month, and then that's I think when things really fell apart.
Gotcha. And then what happened in New York?
About that.
it was like a 4-day trip, so we had it packed full. I mean, not full, but we had like one event a day and like a few things planned, and then Night at the Marquee was great. We both met some girlfriends, we're drinking, I met a guy, she met a couple of people. I mean, by the end of the night, the guy had asked me, he's like, do you want to come back to my place? I have a rooftop apartment. You and your friends can come. I don't know how many people you're with, but you're welcome, whatever you're comfortable with. And I was like, my friend would probably kill me, but I really wanted to obviously go home with him and like at least maybe go have a fun night at his apartment, and like maybe we could go stay and just hang out. But I wanted to go. I walked up to her at the end of the night and asked if she wanted to go. And she immediately got upset and was like, I knew you were going to do this. I knew you were going to leave me. And I was like, no, you can come. Let's go. Let's even ask Star. Like, let's bring our friends. I'll go. And she like stormed out and got mad. And so I ran after her.
You're shaking your head. What part? What are you shaking your head about?
So we decided before we even left for the trip, that no matter how cute he was, how rich he was, how tall he was, how much he was packing, like no matter what, we're not gonna split. Yes.
We agreed not to split up, like to leave each other because we were in a big city.
Right. And I thought you were gonna go back to this place. I didn't think we were involved.
I was telling everyone to come.
Okay,
And I think
both of us were completely
moment,
wasted also.
Yeah. So I was screaming at her in the middle of the dance floor, let's go to this guy's place. Like, he's so cute and I really want to go. And she was like, I knew you were gonna leave. And I was like, no, you can come. Like, it's really close to here. And she was like, no, I knew. And she stormed off. And I went and found him. I didn't want him to disappear. So I was like, hey, stay right there. Went and found her. She already had her coat check and was outside. So I ran outside and was like, please don't go. And she was like, our friendship is over. I knew you were going to do this. Get your own ride home. I'm gone. And I was like, please, my phone's dead.
All right, hold on. All right. Now.
Whoa. No.
I was pretty drunk. But I know you said our friendship is over.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
My heart sank to my stomach. And when you said that, I said, I'm not going with him. And I said, I'll go inside and I'll tell him no. And I did that. And it took 5 seconds. And by the time I was back out, she was gone. And my phone was completely dead.
Okay,
and the guy was gone.
What part of
and
that
we
story?
We were staying in Staten Island.
What part of that story are what from your point of view?
Okay, so how I remember it. So we get there, we're having a good time. It's, like free drinks or whatever. And so we're drinking like a lot. 4 a.m. comes rolling around. I'm tired. I'm totally done. I'm ready to go. And then she's like, hey, I'm gonna go to this guy's house. And then I'm like, no, you're gonna get murdered,
And then I was like, come get murdered with me. We can go to the rooftop.
And I was trying to leave for an hour at that time, or trying for us to leave for an hour at that time. And she was trying to feel this guy out a little bit more and wanted to go. And she was kind of adamant about it from what I remember. Again, memory's hazy because
sure
the events of that night. And so I was just ready to go. I had it. I was tired. Didn't feel good.
And then at some point you got mad and said the friendship's over.
She said she was gonna he already got a ride or something. He ordered one on his phone. And at that point, I was like, you went back on our agreement of not split up, and here you are splitting up.
No, I think that's where
I didn't know her phone died. She told me that after the fact.
But I think that's where we crossed hairs. I told her I'm gonna go tell him now.
I don't remember that part.
You were both mad and you were both drunk at this point. So
yeah,
I think you both need to be careful, especially as rehash this, to give each other a little bit of grace about just coming from completely different points of views, right? And you both don't remember the night exactly as it happened. I think acknowledging that would go a long way, both of you. I think the big thing here is you guys you weren't seeing eye to eye. You had different priorities. A lot of then it sounds like, Sarah, you started making it sounds like you might be a little guilty of feeling hurt and then jumping to conclusions and assumptions about things you don't know for sure. And it could be like a defense mechanism of, well, I'd rather just assume the worst and then I can prepare myself for the worst, as opposed to just actually.
That kind of describes me to a T.
As opposed to slowly finding out what's going on and then trying to work through it. You would rather just say, fuck it, I'm done, fuck this, and I can deal with this, which that's just not sustainable in any relationship or friendship.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I kind of got that attitude, I guess, towards her at the end, after it all. Because I had felt like I was fighting for so long too, I guess to get her to loosen up and just be more I don't know, relaxed about it all and stuff. And it just kind of.
That's another thing too. It's just you two might have been best friends and there was a lot of love there, but it doesn't just talking to you for 10 minutes. You guys have some differences in your personalities. You guys have some differences in things that you guys enjoy, right? You have different things and things you guys prioritize. These are all okay, and you can still be the best of friends. Some of my closest friends, I couldn't be more different than, but there are certain things that bring us really together, and things that we can talk to and trust. And they're the people I go to about things that and on some levels we really connect, but on other levels we're different. So I think you two, maybe now, if you're interested in reconnecting, need to sit down and just be honest about your differences you have and accept each other's differences.
I feel like we never, the other thing is when we hang out, it's usually just going out or chilling and doing nothing because we're so different too. Like I'm always like texting, like, let's go to the beach, let's go like hike, let's go do this, let's go do that. And she's like, oh, it's hot out. Like, I don't want to. Like, let's
Yeah.
just get
So
let's
you need
stay
to
in or
accept
do
each
this.
other's
So
differences, because I think when we're younger and we have friends, we expect our friends to like mirror us, to always want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. And then when we don't, we get disappointed and bummed. And when we get disappointed and bummed, instead of just being disappointed, we tend to project that disappointment onto those other people and make it feel like it's their fault for our disappointment. Like you can, like, your disappointment is like on you, right? Like we can be disappointed sometimes, and it's not necessarily someone else's fault, especially when they just like have different preferences or want to do different things. And I think where you two probably got yourselves in trouble with this friendship is not accepting each other's differences and just appreciating each other for being different, and also being appreciative of the similarities you did have and prioritize those, so that like when she was out there, doing her thing and wanting to go into rooftop, like instead of like, yeah, I don't think a trip to New York at the same time was like the one to rekindle a friendship when you guys really wanted, like, you wanted quality time, like New
we just
York
kind
is,
of like mulled over our issues and
yeah, like
assumed
New
the
York
trip
is
would
about
make it
like
better.
going out there and seeking adventure and being like, hey, we're gonna say yes to things, and minus like getting murdered. Like it's an adventurous city, and you go and be adventurous, and that you had an expectation of being adventurous, and she had an expectation of like group therapy.
Getting home safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your expectations just didn't align up, and you both decided not to respect the other's expectations and things, and you both decided to judge each other's expectations rather than just being like, they want something different and that's okay. And so it's just a little bit of balance. But at the end of the day, I think you guys just need to respect each other's differences. And it's okay to like have a different type of friendship. Like your friendship that you guys had, like that's dead and gone. And you can still be best friends. I don't know where it's going to go, but you're not each other's friends who's going to do everything together. Maybe you're the type of friends that like, you have your common interest, you do those things together. You go
Lunch on Sundays and that's all.
yeah, or they're that person you talk to for advice or counsel, but that's tricky too, because when you ask for people's advice, you can't take it personally when they don't take it. I feel like that might be more of a note for Sarah than Beth.
I think that happens to us a lot too. Like her and I'm always against her boyfriends and she's always against mine, or like a lot of situations. And so like I give her advice and I can tell in her face, she's like, no, I don't want that to do that, what you're saying. And then vice versa, she'll tell me like, oh,
are you
this is
guys
what you should
asking
do.
for each other's advice or just giving it
Yeah,
unsolicited?
I think it's partially unsolicited and partially like venting, and then the other one trying to be
But there's been
helpful.
times where I've asked you to just like, look, I'm going to do it my way. Can you just support me? And I felt like I didn't have that support.
I have found that as I've gotten older, friendships have more to do with just being there for your friend when they need you, and not telling your friend what to do or how to act, or judging them for their choices, especially when you disagree with them. It's just like, all right, do your thing, and however it goes, I will be there for you. I'll be there to listen. I'll be there to like try to get you out of your bad mood. I'll be there to try to get you to like not stress about the thing that's bothering you. And I'm not here to tell you I told you so. I'm not expect you to make all the same choices you make as I do, but really just be there for each other. Who was who when I have some of your messages back and forth with one another?
I think I'm the red conversation.
Gotcha.
So she reached out to me first and said, hey, I wanted to talk about work stuff. I don't know what else. And I had just kind of initially said something like, I think that we both know what happened before was like a conversation that still needs to be had, because there was a lot of stuff like left undiscussed. So I don't know. I told her that was something I kind of wanted to look into first before we even tried to like talk as acquaintances. I wanted to address the situation.
So so it sounds like you were a little bit more reluctant to try to rekindle the friendship.
Yeah, so she had actually been reaching out to me on like Instagram for about a year, and I
like commenting on posts.
Yeah, just commenting and liking and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just ended up I deleted her as a friend, and I just started hiding her comments every time she'd leave them. I was really persistent on trying to just completely, I guess, forget about our friendship.
I mean, listen, I feel like this conversation is you guys trying to get on the same page. I don't know how you guys are both feeling right now, but I hope that you guys both feel Like you recognize that you were making a ton of assumptions about how the other person was feeling, making a ton of assumptions about, the situations or what was said. You guys were not doing a lot of listening and just kind of projecting your fears and insecurities about the friendship and yourselves onto the other person. All of these things like create challenging situations. And then now the question is like, what do you want from this friendship? I mean, in my opinion, just start slow. This is a big step because it's sitting in the same room. You're like talking to me, like clearly there's a lot of
now we
love.
just want to know what to do.
Well, I mean, clearly there's just a lot of love for the other person just in general. Like, whether you guys are able to rekindle the closeness, I don't know. But clearly you guys both, it seems like you care about each other and want the best for each other. I think that says a lot. And now you guys just have to figure out, can you guys get on the same page? A lot has to come down to, in my opinion, accepting the other person for who they are and not trying to get them to be something they're not, both of you. And accept that you both have flaws, accept that you guys won't always have the answer to fix the other person's flaws. And as friends, you're not there to be each other's therapist or tell each other what to do, even when they ask advice. All your main purpose as a friendship is to just be the friend, to be there for each other when the other person asks them to be there.
And we both have been, I think, there for each other, for a lot of breakups and just a lot of big family moments and a lot of family stuff too. So I think that's why we have so much care for each other. So I think I'm ready to just let go of all the stress that we had from this. And I feel like the bad guy from it. I told her I felt like everyone in her life messing with her emotionally more. So I just felt so bad.
I disagree with that. I set myself up for a lot of that.
You both hurt each other. That's it. That's what it comes down to.
And I'm just glad, I guess, now to be able to reconnect with you and know that you're fine and that it wasn't the end of the world. It was just dumb girl shit. And I think that we definitely maybe can start fresh somewhere.
But take it slow too.
I feel like we need to get on the same page with a couple of things.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we both got bad information from
guys. I think I told myself lies about our fights for so long. And
there's that too. But also I don't know. I just feel rehash, I guess, but to a certain extent, maybe just accept and forgive as well. I think the important thing is to focus on, if I'm understanding you, that neither of you really wanted to hurt the other person. You both felt bad. You both were feeling hurt. You both were feeling anger in the moment. And that easily, you also were drinking. And that easily causes, you had other priorities, that easily causes friction and disappointment and sadness and hurt. And so how much, knowing that's not what you guys wanted, let's focus more about potential future and just recognize that you guys weren't on the same page. I
guess a big question I think we both kind of feel is how would we be able to recognize if we are starting to do some of these toxic things? Because we never noticed really before until we had a big fight like this and we're I had all these other things building up too, that I'm just now doing something.
I kind of noticed about the 6 months build up to the new thing.
I guess it's now we start re-talking and stuff, or trying to hang out again.
Whenever either of you, I'm sure you can recognize the feeling you felt back in the day. Now that feeling is going to be insecurity, fear, frustration, anger. And when you feel that, don't immediately assume it's something they have to change. Look in the mirror and ask them, why am I feeling this way? If it's something that she could be doing differently, either of you, you just say, that bothered me, and maybe it's me. Let's just talk about it. What you guys do, at least you did, you guys made a lot of assumptions. You made a lot of accusations to one another rather than just saying, hey, this bothered me. Can we talk about it? Can I ask some questions? If you guys feel a little annoyed by each other's company, totally fine, totally normal. Take some time apart. Don't force feed a trip to New York next time. I just need a little bit of space is fine. And next time and these things you promised you wouldn't do this, shit happens. We have to be a little bit more flexible too when something comes up and you want to do something and either you go along with it or you bow out. And it's not for me. Go have fun. Call me tomorrow. Relationships are hard enough to have it be so rigid and non-flexible, especially with friendships. you're there to make life easier on each other. Like, you shouldn't make life harder on each other. And if you're making life harder on each other, you guys both probably need to like take a step back and redefine your expectations that you have from one another.
I totally see that now. And I think I kind of knew that before. We're going to probably laugh about a lot of it and realize we should have listened 2 years ago.
Yeah, because a lot of things make sense now in hindsight.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe you guys needed the break. It happened. It was what it was. Now just focus more on going forward. We always like to end these calls with saying what you guys really like and care or love about one another. So whoever wants to go first.
Her way to adapt it. Like, I can't adapt like that. Like, I can't change myself how I think. She's got way more perspective than I do about like pretty much anything in life.
I don't know. I know that we lie to each other a lot about like our emotions and what's going on, but I feel like you're always like willing to just be your goofiest version of yourself around me.
Well, have more of these conversations and just keep focusing on 3 things: respect one another, accept the other person, and trust the other person that they're willing and wanting to be your friend. And if you focus on those 3 things, I feel like you guys have a good chance of building this thing back up.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@castme.com. Cast with a K. We will see you back on Monday.
You're crazy.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. But before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.